Aliens?
Aliens.
Yes. But maybe no. Hi guys, welcome to the show. Aliens.
Yes.
But maybe no. With Josh and Travis. I'm Travis.
And I'm Josh.
This is an otherworldly podcast as ambiguous as our title. So you listeners won't know this, but we took a bye week last week.
Yeah.
So your listening experience won't be interrupted, but Josh and I are going to have to work on our chemistry again because it's been 2 weeks since we've been in the same room.
I mean, I'd like to think that we have a forever chemistry.
We do. Did I answer that fast enough?
Yeah, it was a little suspicious, actually.
Say it again.
I think we have a forever
We do.
chemistry. You don't even know what I was going to say.
I did. We'd already rehearsed it. We did a run through.
I was going to say chemistry set.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, we are very into chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
Mixing potions.
Yep. That's what we call them in the field that we're in.
Yeah, the warlock business.
Warlock soup.
Yep. Yeah, it is. Mix it in a stump.
Yeah. Thank you for coming and listening again.
Uh-huh.
Or if it's your first time, welcome. We don't know much.
Yeah.
We're just kind of taking this journey to learn and see what's out there.
Yeah. So don't come at us too hard.
Yeah. Last week we did the baseline quiz about this episode topic, and it's the abduction of Travis Walton.
Yeah, that's what we're covering this week.
We'll have another quiz at the end of the episode to see where we're at and what kind of knowledge we know for the next episode.
That's per usual. There's going to be a quiz at the end of every one of our episodes.
Yeah, for us, not you.
Well, I mean, answer
They
along.
could. Yeah, they could.
Shout at the radio. That's what I do all the time when I'm listening to a podcast. I just do a lot of yelling.
Yeah. So yeah, Travis Walton, 1975, November 5th, a crew, forestry workers.
Made up of like friends. So this is in Snowflake, Nevada.
Mm-hmm.
And they work in the Heber National Forest, right? They had bid a gig.
Yeah, it seemed as though it was like people you know. It's like we only hire friends and family.
Yeah.
There's 7 guys. They're finishing up work for the day, and they saw a UFO.
Yeah.
Off the side of the road.
So they had actually got this gig. They had underbid some of the other forestry contractors that were in this area.
Yeah.
And were given this contract because they had severely underbid the competition, and they were given a deadline of August to get this job done. And they had to get an extension to November, and they were, I think Mike Rogers was the foreman. That's Travis's future brother-in-law. He hadn't married.
And with the extension, they were on track to finish, but they were stressed. They were working long days.
They were, I think, convinced of their own work, but they said that everybody was really stressed. They were committed to getting it done and working on this until their deadline or until they were told to stop.
And they're about 80% done.
Sure.
Anyway, they saw a UFO after work on the side of the road, and one of the loggers, a 22-year-old chap named Travis Walton, got out of the truck. They're all sitting in the truck together. Must have been a huge truck. They're double buckling, probably.
Probably people in the back.
Yeah. Travis got out of the truck to get a closer look and was hit by a beam of light from the ship, which knocked him back several feet. The crew panicked and drove away.
Yeah, everybody said that they had experienced something. They saw light. One of the other crew members said they actually even saw a ship.
Yeah.
And Travis immediately, they weren't stopped, but he gets out of the truck like before it stops and just starts walking towards it. And they're like, "What are you doing, man?" They were freaking out. He starts walking towards the light and it knocks him down. And yeah, whoever was driving the truck freaked out
and just peeled off.
Yeah, just took off, left him there.
I mean, that's huge.
Dick
fight or
move.
flight. You know, that's why hit and runs, like when you go to court, you can actually use the excuse, "This is my natural instinct. I'm sorry I fled." Some people freeze. Some people run towards it. Some people run away. I'm a runawayer.
I'm a freezer, I think. Just not do anything.
Yeah, I've known people who freeze.
Yeah.
I want to run away. My wife is the opposite. She'll run towards. She knows I'm a runawayer, and I think it keeps her up at night. Yeah, it scares her if there's a big thing. Like, am I just going to run past the children?
Uh-huh.
I don't think I would do that, though. I think I have enough fatherly instinct.
All right. Well, I guess that's going to be my task the next week is to test that.
That would be horrifying. So yeah, these guys, the rest of his crew, took off. And then a couple miles down the road, there's like, wait, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And they're like, we can't just leave someone out in the middle of the woods. So about 15 minutes later, they return to find Travis, and he's gone. So Travis and the light in the craft that they saw had vanished, disappeared. So the crew chief, Michael Rogers, reported that Travis was missing to the Navajo County Sheriff sometime around 7:45 p.m. After initial questioning by police, there's a small search effort to find Travis until after midnight, when they called it all off until the morning.
Mm-hmm.
How crazy did these guys sound? Because they just mentioned everything that happened.
You're referencing the documentary that we watched called Alien Abduction, Travis Walton Incident, right? We watched that on HBO?
Yeah.
Okay. This was done, in when was that documentary produced?
2023?
Well, 2021, Mike Rogers released a statement saying he was making the whole thing up. So I think this documentary was before that. I don't remember Mike Rogers much in this documentary, though, if he's still even with us.
This was 2022.
Okay.
The crew chief mentioned that he made it all up?
Yeah. His brother-in-law said it was all made up.
So what happened?
And we'll get okay. What he's saying has happened, and this incident is widely viewed as a hoax by a lot of people within and outside of the UFO community.
Okay.
What Mike Rogers had said is they were so far behind their gig to avoid having to pay what was then a steep penalty of $2,500 to the Forestry Service for not completing this task.
Yeah.
They had set this up because it could be viewed as an act of God.
And that would make it so they wouldn't have to pay.
I don't know what the rate of inflation, I don't know what $2,500 was back in 1975, but it was, probably $10,000 plus dollars.
Yeah, I would imagine.
So they said that they'd set up a work light off in the woods and had set the whole thing up. And maybe, a bug out shelter for Travis to just camp out in somewhere. But he was picked up 5 or 6 days later.
5 days later.
Yeah. He called from a payphone in an adjacent town.
Yeah. Far away.
Mm-hmm. Far enough. I mean, but not like, it's not like a different state. It's not like he called from Pennsylvania.
But why would these guys stick with it for so long?
So just a couple weeks before, there was a biopic. It was about Betty and Barney Hill. It starred, maybe it was James Earl Jones. He played Barney, and they think that Travis and Mike had watched this and thought this might be our way out of this contract. This was all in a statement that Mike had released in 2021.
Interesting. It ruined their lives, though. Why wouldn't they just come clean?
It didn't really ruin Travis's life. He got rights to adapt his story into the movie Fire in the Sky. So he got paid for that. Now he's like a panelist and goes to these UFO conventions, and I'm sure that comes with a paycheck. It ruined some of the other crew members' lives. Like they moved to other towns and refused to talk about it.
Yeah,
because they were stigmatized. The Betty and Barney Hill incident that happened in the 60s, and their story was adapted into a book called The Interrupted Journey, and then there was a televised event in 1975 called the UFO incident.
So the Betty and Barney Hill is another abduction that happened
in New Hampshire
in
1961.
Out of their car.
Anyway, so this TV show was aired. These guys had watched it and had worked out a way to stage an abduction. And even like a week before it had happened, Travis had told his mom that if he were to get abducted by aliens, don't worry, he's going to be fine. He'll be home. He'll make it out.
Well, that's like your opinion, man.
No, that's according to the Wikipedia entry on Travis Walton.
But we also know that there's people out there that are, I believe, that are part of the government changing Wikipedias to make the people look crazy.
Okay.
Or...
That sounds like a total normal stance on this, Josh. A total normal.
Yeah. How much money do I have to pay you to believe?
Yeah.
I know you have a price.
I don't know what it is. We can talk off mic.
next episode, you just believe. It's all real.
Yeah. I've got diamond-studded glasses. Yeah. I pulled up in a Rivian.
That would be nice.
Yeah, those are pretty sweet cars.
They are. So we talked about what happened leading up to the incident.
Mm-hmm.
For 5 days, they were looking for Walton. It kind of turned on the men that maybe he was killed or some bad things happened. Some strange things were afoot.
Yeah.
They went through polygraph tests and they all passed except one.
Yeah, one guy who he said was the black sheep of the crew.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that means. I had some thoughts when I was watching this documentary, but those thoughts are gone.
I think my first thought was just like, well, that's strange. Why'd they hire him if they knew he had prior...
They all had prior run-ins with the law. So Travis and his brother-in-law in 1972 were stealing checks from a company they worked for and writing it and cashing those checks.
Whoa.
And he got arrested for it and then put on probation.
So you're saying that all these forestry workers had run-ins with the law at some point?
Yeah. Our two main players did, definitely.
You did a lot of extra research on this.
But I did a little bit. I looked up.
I didn't. I just believe what I see.
I know. I looked
in here.
Most of the stuff is, I mean, Wikipedia is a great resource. I use Wikipedia a lot. I think it's very helpful. And there's a lot of links and things like that you can go down. So it's easy to go down little rabbit holes. And this is one of the rabbit holes I went down.
Okay. So for these 5 days, Walton was missing.
Uh-huh.
In the original story, Walton's experience in all of this was that he claimed he'd woken up in a hospital-like room and was being observed by 3 short, bald creatures.
Yeah.
He fought with them until 3 possible humans restrained him and put a transparent plastic mask over his face.
Mm-hmm.
Then he lost consciousness, and the next thing he remembered was walking along a highway 5 days later.
Yeah.
Catching a glimpse of the spacecraft as it disappeared into the sky. He originally thought he'd been missing for only 5 hours, but later learned that he was missing for 5 days.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Well, he was missing for 5 days.
He was.
That is indisputable. He was gone for 5 days. His girlfriend, people that were involved in his life, very personal people.
They were terrified.
They were scared. And of course, at first they thought it was murder. The sheriff and sheriff's deputy. Those guys are no longer with us, but they talked to daughter of one of the sheriffs in this documentary. Had said that the sheriff was telling the crew during some of these searches, okay, you guys just tell me where you buried him. Just tell me where the body is. And this all can end. This can all go away.
Yeah, they're accusing him of murdering this guy.
They were accusing the whole crew of murdering. And because of...
It's just crazy that these guys stuck with a lie when they're being accused of potential murder.
Well, they probably, Mike Rogers and Travis Walton, I think, are the architects of this.
Oh, and the other ones didn't know.
The other ones just didn't know.
Interesting.
They were just other crew members. And because of, Travis's involvement with Mike and the other crew member's sister, they decided to bring him in. And he probably had spent some time and they'd watched this documentary. And they're like, okay, this is our chance. We're not really that close to getting this job done. We need to have some outside force act on it so that we can get out of having to pay this penalty. So I don't think they told the other crew. And so was set up in such a way and it had happened so fast. I think Mike Rogers was the driver of the truck. He drove away really fast. So all they got was like lights out in the forest.
Quick glimpse.
Yeah, quick glimpse. And then it's easy to create a memory based on, other people's input. That's how you get false memories.
Yeah.
Is that you hear enough of an accounting, and if Travis comes back and says, this is what happened, I was abducted, those people are going to put the pieces together of that story based on their own information. And then you start to get what's called like confirmation bias.
Yeah, I think that's also the issue that you were talking about with that hypnosis, like regressive memory therapy, is that a lot of the scientific community doesn't believe it because in hypnosis, you can put in memories.
Well, but yeah, I mean, people are very easily influenced. People that experience hypnosis are
notoriously easily
influenced. There are some people that just aren't susceptible to it and some who are very susceptible to it.
Yeah. I've tried being hypnotized, but it didn't work for me.
I've never tried to be hypnotized. The whole idea of it freaks me out a little bit.
It is freaky. It was like on a stage with people and it just didn't work for me and it did for other people. And they just kicked me off stage. But I think I didn't want to be hypnotized, truly.
Yeah. I would hope that if I was ever put in a situation where I was going to get hypnotized, that my willpower would get through it, where I was just like, I don't want to be hypnotized. It sounds like a terrifying experience.
But I heard 1 hour of hypnosis is like 8 hours worth of sleep.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah. So Walton He was gone. He came back up. He was walking on the highway. When he appeared, there was a full-scale investigation that included polygraphs, psychological evaluations, and physical examinations.
Everybody passed the polygraph, but polygraphs are notoriously faulty. There's like false negative or false positives with polygraphs. It just depends on the person.
But they're saying that many people passing is very bizarre. One person passing, like that wouldn't hold up. But that many people?
I mean, not really. If you believe that that's the story, then that's the story, right? And you can convince yourself of just about anything. Like when Travis came back, he was probably freaked out, and I think the lie detector backed that up. And I think with everybody else, they honestly believed that was the story, and so it wasn't a lie to them.
Yeah.
The part that clinches it for me that this didn't really happen was Mike coming out in 2021 and saying that it was a hoax.
To who?
To your...
If you say my mother.
It came out to your mom. So, March 19, 2021, Mike Rogers posted a statement to his Facebook, and I'm reading from the Travis Walton Incident Wikipedia page under the subheading Rogers-Walton Dispute of 2021. Okay? So, on March 19, 2021, Mike Rogers posted a statement to his Facebook page announcing, I, Michael H. Rogers, being of sound and rational mind, do hereby give notice that I am no longer to be considered a witness to Travis C. Walton's supposed abduction of November 5th, 1975. He later clarified Travis tried to keep a new remake of the movie a secret from me. He's always had his big secrets that he has kept from me. It angered me. I tried over the last 2 weeks to reason with him, but of no avail. I don't believe Travis is an honest person, and therefore I want nothing to do with him. He'd really said on his Facebook page.
Wow.
On April 30th, Rogers placed a call to producer Ryan Gordon, who was working on a new film about the Walton incident. Gordon recorded the call without Rogers' knowledge, as permitted by Arizona law. 2 months later, on July 4th, Gordon publicly posted audio from the call, which featured Rogers explaining, we were talking in the woods one day. We were talking about creating a UFO hoax, okay? I don't know how the UFO got there, but I remember when I was driving the truck and he jumped out, it was all deliberate. It was all a staged thing, okay? He ran up there, and there was something about the UFO not being real, although it looked real. Rogers and Walton later reconciled, and Rogers issued a statement retracting his confession.
Interesting.
And I think that there's probably money involved. If there was going to be a remake, of course, the studio's going to offer him money to use his rights again, because I'm sure he owns the rights to his own story. I don't know, though. That might not be true. It might be owned by whoever produced or distributed Fire in the Sky. But they
it was based on Travis's book.
Fire in the Sky is based on the incident.
But didn't Travis write a book?
In 1978, he wrote The Walton Experience, which was adapted into the 1993 film Fire in the Sky.
Okay.
Sold his story to tabloid The National Enquirer, which published the account and awarded the crew a $5,000 prize. So, through the National Enquirer, which...
Bat Baby.
Bat Boy, yeah. Bigfoot, that's their main stars.
That was my favorite part of waiting in lines as a kid.
Yeah, I was
just seeing those.
Oh, Bat Boy's popped up again. Oh, nice. I'm glad he's doing well.
Wow, that baby weighs 500 pounds.
Yeah.
That was great. I never saw Fire in the Sky. I'm not a big horror film person.
I wouldn't say horror. It's sci-fi, but it is scary. There are elements of like supernatural.
I watched the trailer and that looked spooky.
The abduction is very scary.
Yeah, it looked like they embellished a little bit on what happened in the spaceship, and they made it like a horror thriller sci-fi action.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like they did a good job.
Yeah, no, it's good. I haven't seen it in many years, but there's a reason for that. Is because it really freaked me out when I first saw it.
Yeah. Well, I'm second guessing with all the information you're giving me. So are you saying that aliens know in this situation?
I'm saying aliens know in this specific situation. We're all on the same journey here, me, you, and you listeners out there.
We're trying to figure out what's going on.
Trying to figure out what's going on. This is, to me, though, is a no.
Okay. I'm going to say maybe.
Oh, okay.
Just because, I mean, I don't have all the information. We don't know for a fact.
Yeah.
With Travis being very successful because of this whole story and continued success, I could see why he could keep it going.
Yeah, he wants to propagate this myth. He wants this to keep going because this has become his identity. He's known as the Fire in the Sky guy.
Yeah. Cool thing to be known for.
Sure, man. I mean, and if that's what you're known for, you're going to want to ride that pony till it collapses.
Yeah.
And it sounded like it got near collapse in 2021.
I'm going to stick with maybe.
Okay.
It can't be a definite yes or a definite no for me.
It's a definite no for me.
Okay.
Probably surprising nobody.
Yeah. let us know what you think. Tell us your inside information that you have. Like we mentioned last week, don't give us anything that is important.
Please God, we do not want that responsibility.
Yeah.
Giving it to us would be very irresponsible of you. We're very irresponsible people. I wouldn't even know what to do with it.
I would delete it.
Yeah, oopsie, delete.
Whoops. Find someone else. Give it to Jeremy Corbell.
Yeah, he's more suited.
Yep.
Link in the show notes for how to reach Jeremy Corbell.
Yeah.
In fact, direct all of your questions about our podcast to Jeremy Corbell at jeremycorbell@gmail.com. I'm sure jcorbell@gmail.com.
Yep, I'm sure it'll work.
That's where all of our emails are going to go now. We're going to just redirect it to him.
Yeah, we don't need that.
No, we don't need that. I don't want that kind of pressure.
So next week, this is going to be a fun one. We're going to give you a little sneak peek with a quiz. And the topic is Men in Black.
Yep, end of show quiz. Well, now that we're on the quiz part, I'm going to say our great researcher, Jordan, fucked up and sent me the quiz before taking it today. So I had some time to do some research.
You cheated? This is the first time I'm opening this quiz up.
I can't be trusted with information, Josh. That's what I'm saying. I am irresponsible.
That's horrible. Well, I guess the quiz is just for me.
I'm still going to fail it. I know I'm going to. I'll still mess it up.
All right. My Men in Black knowledge is from the movies.
Yeah.
I did listen to one podcast episode about it. That information is somewhere in my mind palace. I don't know if I can access it. Hopefully, but we'll find out. All right. So the first question. The Men in Black are often described as wearing what distinctive type of clothing?
Okay, this is like the easiest question on here.
This is, black robes, black suits and sunglasses, black jumpsuits, black military uniform. We all know it's black suits and sunglasses.
Mm-hmm.
Easy.
Mm-hmm.
I could do this all night long.
Yeah, just answer this one question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, the next question. What is the primary purpose of the Men in Black's visits, according to witness reports?
Okay.
So A, to offer protection from aliens.
Mm-hmm.
B, to warn witnesses to remain silent about what they have seen. C, to recruit people into secret government programs. Or D, to explain the phenomenon of UFO sightings.
What are you going to say?
It's to warn witnesses to remain silent about what they've seen.
That's what I was going to say too.
Because you cheated.
I mean, that's not much of a cheat, though. That's classic Men in Black behavior. I mean, they have the neuralizer in the movie.
The next question. Witnesses often describe the Men in Black as lacking what common human characteristic?
Oh, this is an interesting one.
This is. I don't know.
Okay.
Is it A, fingernails, B, eyebrows, C, hair on their head, or D, all of the above?
So this is one that I wasn't sure of. So I did look up like physical characteristics, and they said that a lot of these Men in Black figures wear a hat. And so it's hard to determine facial characteristics. But for the purposes of this quiz, I'm going to say D, all of the above.
Fingernails too?
Uh-huh.
It's creepy.
Yeah. Some people think that they're either time travelers or from another planet. They're actually aliens here to protect their own secrecy.
Crazy. All right. So I'm going to do D, all the above. They're lacking
all of these things.
All these things. Fingernails, eyebrows, hair on the head.
Yeah.
Next question. In many accounts, how are their voices described? A, high-pitched and squeaky. B, deep and robotic. C, calm and melodic. Or D, muffled and hard to understand.
How would you describe our voices on this podcast?
It wouldn't be any of those.
Would you fit any of these now?
I wouldn't. I mean, we're not calm.
No.
I don't think we're that deep. We're definitely not high-pitched and squeaky. Muffled and hard to understand? Maybe.
Yeah.
But I don't know this answer.
My inside voice in my brain is, I would say, calm and melodic. But everybody else in my life is like, kind of like an annoying know-it-all. It's kind of how you are. That's not, I'm asking you about the tone of my voice, not my attitude.
My inside voice, deep and melodic.
Oh, okay.
Or deep and calm.
Perfect.
Yeah. I'm going to answer deep and robotic.
Okay. I'm going to say high-pitched and squeaky.
Oh, that's weird.
Well, it is weird. They are weird.
They are. I mean, so far. So the next question, when did the first reports of the Men in Black begin to emerge?
Mm.
A, 1886,
Mhm.
B, 1929, C, 1947, or D, 1962?
I know we talked about this, I think, on one of our other shows.
I'm going to say 1947.
I'm going to say 1947 too, even though my gut is telling me 1962 because that's a year after the Betty and Barney Hill incident, and there were reports of Men in Black approaching them.
My gut's telling me 1886.
Whoa. Okay. All right. Well, pick that. Go with your gut.
But my mind is telling me 1947.
Well, you got a mind like a steel trap, Josh.
Just because there hasn't been many incidences before that.
So what are you going to pick?
I'll do 1886, A.
I'll do 1947.
Okay. The next question, the Men in Black are often reported to have what kind of unusual physical appearance? Is it A, glowing red eyes,
Mm-hmm.
B, pale skin, almost waxy, C, extremely tall and muscular, or D, all of the above?
I agree with two of those descriptions. The tall and muscular one, I'm not really sure of, but glowing red eyes I read about.
You've always been kind of afraid of tall and muscular people.
I am, because I'm afraid of what I see in the mirror every day. What it boils down to is I'm basically afraid of myself.
Okay.
What do you have? Do you have something to say, Josh, or are you just clearing your throat?
No, that was all I needed.
I'm going to say all of the above, even though I don't think one of those fits from what I've seen.
The pale skin and waxy and tall and muscular, those seem to fit. The glowing red eyes, they're wearing sunglasses. How do they know?
Some accounts said they have eyes that are very luminous, like bulbs.
Well, I'm just going to say extremely tall and muscular.
Okay. This extremely tall and muscular is also a description of like the Nordic alien. So
Yes.
I think that kind of fits.
Which is the kind of humanoid looking
Yeah, it's a very
aliens that Walton said he encountered.
It's a very Western culture description of aliens. I am of the thinking, if aliens are actually out there, there is no reason to believe that they evolved the same way that we did, or they're bipedal. You know, they walk around on two arms,
they're saying that there's
2 legs.
multiple kinds of aliens.
Sure. I don't see it very likely, given our very specific evolution here on planet Earth. I don't think that the evolution on another planet is going to be the same.
Yeah, I don't
we
think
could be
so
looking
either.
at something that looks like a squid or an octopus or whatever. Those could be aliens that are plopped down, in our waters. But I don't necessarily see them being 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 eyes, a nose, a mouth kind of alien. I don't know.
Well, hopefully we'll find out in our lifetime.
Hopefully we'll find out in our lifetime. Okay, last question.
Last question. Which of the following is a common theory about the true identity of the Men in Black?
Uh-huh.
Is it A, they are time travelers from the future?
Mm-hmm.
B, they're aliens disguised as humans?
Mm-hmm.
C, they are government agents from a secret agency?
Mm-hmm.
Or D, all of the above?
Why not all?
Yeah, I was going to say all.
Yeah.
I mean, some people say that maybe we're already working with aliens, so it could be aliens working for a government agency.
Sure.
But then, I mean, we work for money.
What are they working for?
What are they working for?
A passport to live on this planet.
Oh,
Have you
access?
have you seen Men in Black? They have a whole subdivision that works on aliens, and it's funny, illegal aliens being here, and then they get sent back to their planet because their paperwork wasn't filled out properly.
So they just want to live and run a little bodega.
They want to live here because maybe just like how we have a lot of people crossing the border and coming here to the United States, they're fleeing something that is terrifying and life-threatening to them.
Interesting.
And they want a better life for their family. So they came here because it's an easier life, and that maybe their home planet is not the best place for them to live.
Okay.
And they have an opportunity. And space tourism, too. Maybe they're just here going to France.
Yeah, just...
like the Conehead
visiting?
said. Conehead said they were from France. That's why they're so weird.
Because no one knew.
Yeah.
All right, so we both said all the above.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to submit to you my accuracy. Ooh.
Oh, I missed 2.
I missed 2 as well.
Okay, so I got the first question right. Black suits and sunglasses,
Yeah.
obvious choice. Number 2, we both got that right. Warn witnesses to remain silent about what they have seen. That's the purpose of the Men in Black.
Yeah.
3, they describe the men in black as missing fingernails, eyebrows, and hair on their head. We got that right.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. In many accounts, how are their voices described? I said high-pitched and squeaky.
Ooh, I said deep and robotic, and that's right.
That's right. Okay.
Deep and robotic.
So deep and robotic. Fine. When did the first report of the men in black begin to emerge?
I changed it.
1947, baby.
My mind was right. My gut was wrong.
What a dumb idiot, Josh.
I know.
You are dumb.
I know.
But you've been alive this long because you've trusted your gut.
No.
Oh, no.
I've been trusting my mind.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. I'm never going to go with my gut again.
Men in black often report of what kind of unusual physical appearance? I said all of the above.
That is incorrect.
What did you get? Tall and muscular?
I said extremely tall and muscular. That is incorrect.
Yeah.
The answer was pale skin and almost waxy.
Oh, well, then I read the wrong thing. Well, maybe I didn't read the wrong thing. Maybe there's just so many accounts out there.
There could be.
Okay, and then the last one. What is a common theory about the true identity of men in black? All of the above. Time travelers, aliens dressed as humans, and or government agents from a secret agency. And I say, why does it have to be or? Why not and?
Yeah, I think everyone has a place in this. I'm open to whatever.
Okay.
Well, cool. Well, thank you for listening. Next episode is we're going to figure out what this Men in Black
business is.
Yeah. We're really going to figure it out.
We're still waiting on the director of Men in Black. But next we will tell you it's going to be Will Smith will be on the show. Tony Shalhoub will be on the show.
Tommy Lee Jones will be here.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And we will have a real Men in Black on the show.
Yeah.
A waxy, not tall and muscular.
Yeah.
Fingernail-less, hairless, eyebrowless.
Oh man, it's going to be a painful week for one of us.
It's going to be you. You already don't have hair. So
But I am tall and muscular as we've described.
So you're going to have to get real big. You're going to have to lose that.
No.
Okay. Well, thank you for listening. Get a hold of us if you want. Yeah. Have a great week.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Peace.